got one more lost episode coming up. This one is half the length of the one that we just watched. It's not particularly long. This one is, we had a lost episode for Your Level Sucks 1. That's the one that we just did. Now the one that we're getting to is the lost episode from Your Level Sucks 2. Yes, the season that we just wrapped up a few months ago has a lost episode of its own. And this one is called Your Direct Sucks. This was around the time where we started naming everything to do with the series Your Blank Sucks. Your Level Sucks. This is Your Anniversary Sucks. When we were doing the fundraising for to do the show, it was Your Marathon Sucks. When we did some commentary on the Invitational, it was Your Invitational Sucked. And the teasers and trailers that we released were actually technically in a playlist called Your Trailer Sucks. So there, everything fits in with the naming convention. So what Your Direct Sucks was meant to be, and I'll talk about it when we roll the video, is essentially they made a Super Mario Direct. Now this wasn't the one where they just announced Mario Maker, because that was like 30 seconds long. They just showed Mario dragging some things around, and then it said June 2019. And then when they did that, that's when I responded with, like 2 days later, I responded with a video called The Very Best of Your Level Sucks Season 1. And then the very next day, that infamous trailer where I jump on top of the turtle and go like that, dressed in full character regale. So, I was ready for it. But what Your Direct Sucks is they did a later Nintendo Direct, I think around May, and they started showing off all of the new things that were coming into the game that were going to be added to Super Mario Maker 2. It's the video. I won't spoil too many of the jokes in the video because we're about to get there. But essentially, what I did is I made a list of predictions, top 10 things that I thought people were gonna fuck up in Super Mario Maker 2 because they're dumb. Not because the things that were added are dumb, that's one thing, but because the people making the levels are dumb. Two wrongs don't make a right, okay? But basically, it was just going to be a predictions video, and we were doing so much before the release of Super Mario Maker 2 and to get ready for Your Level Sucks 2. It's kind of like me getting ready for this anniversary marathon. Like, I had to do so many things, getting all the props ready and ordering photo prints and having things on eBay and doing things on the Gatorbox website, and there's just so much to take care of that some stuff just gets swept under the rug and doesn't happen. And Your Direct Sucks, the predictions video, just didn't make it out the door. We wrote it, and we just didn't have time. We were too busy. So instead what we've done, and as you're about to see, we went ahead and took the original list that I did write back in the day. As soon as I saw the Direct, I watched it a few times, and I took notes, and I made a list of the top 10 things. So now, we're going to see, was I right? Was I correct in predicting that these things were going to be a problem? So, it's going to be, it's not the video that was going to be, because it's not a predictions video, and there's no point in shooting it like a predictions video when the game's already been out and we've wrapped on the second season. Nothing is shocking anymore. We've already seen all this before. But I just decided, here's how we can make a twist and still use the original script. So, in a roundabout way, here's the other lost episode of Your Level Sucks, Your Direct Sucks. Give me back my glasses. I can't see. I need it so I can click. I need it so I can click the buttons. Howdy everyone, Draco here, and welcome to the bonus lost episode from Your Level Sucks 2. Your Level Sucks 1 had a missing episode as well. We saw that earlier in the playlist. And the reason why that episode wound up being lost is because it just didn't fit with the theme of the show. You know, talking about the art book and the secrets and the codes and everything in it. It wasn't like funny. Like, it didn't fit with the same spirit of the show where we just made fun of levels, and it kind of clashed with that. So we wrote it, never filmed it. But this missing episode actually did fit within the theme and scope of the show. In fact, it was called Your Direct Sucks, and it was going to be about the Nintendo Direct that was focused around the announcement of Super Mario Maker 2 and all of the new things that were going to be added to it. But as you might remember, in the weeks leading up to the release of Super Mario Maker 2, we were slammed here at Gatorbox. Not only was I knee-deep in some contract work outside of the stream, but we did a whole number of specials here. We filmed a bunch of teasers and trailers, not all of which made it onto YouTube, but y'all got to see inside the B-roll and lost footage video. We also did Your Invitational Sucks, where we did some match commentary and told some jokes about the Mario Maker 2 Invitational Tournament. And then we also did the 12-hour Your Marathon Sucks fundraiser. So we did a whole bunch of stuff leading up to the release of Mario Maker 2 to build hype for it, and Your Direct Sucks just kind of fell through the cracks. It's something that we wrote, but we just didn't have the time to film, and we didn't have the time to edit it all together. You know, we couldn't make it happen. So this video, posthumously, is Your Direct Sucks. Now, before we get into the rest of the episode, let me tell you what this was supposed to be about. When the Nintendo Direct for Mario Maker 2 went live, you guys might remember it was the one that gave us the quote,
"Watch out for Boom Boom. The mad lad will chase after you, swinging his arms and legs."
The idea was that I paid attention to that Direct where they announced all of the new things that were going to be added in Super Mario Maker 2 right out of the box. And I made a top 10 list of things that I thought people were going to fuck up. In fact, I actually went ahead and I printed out the list here just for kind of reference. And I made sure to note, you know, I haven't touched this. You know, this is the list and part of the script that I wrote dated May 17th, 2019, immediately after that Direct went live. So I looked at that, I picked out, you know, it was going to be top 10 things that people are going to fuck up when they make levels because they are stupid. And, well, now the game's already out. Your Level Sucks 2 has run its course. So this prediction of top 10 things that people are going to mess up is no longer a prediction. So I figured we're going to tweak this lost episode, and now that I actually have that original list, that original top 10, we're going to go through that top 10, and we're going to see if I was right. We're going to see if how I ranked things, if throughout the process of shooting Your Level Sucks 2, if these were things that people actually fucked up. Now, I do need to stress, before we get into number 10, that this only covers stuff that was in that Direct. This, the Master Sword, the Bullet Bill helmet, the Koopalings, everything that was added into the game later through patches and updates is inapplicable for this, because this is based purely on the Nintendo Direct, footage of which will be interspersed with, you know, these hosting segments here. So, this is a slightly modified version of a video we were going to film about a year and a half ago, just about, and I present Your Direct Sucks. And starting this list off, at number 10, we have the Koopa Troopa car. Now, the Koopa Troopa car only available in Super Mario 3D World, only available in that theme, and I think starting the list off at number 10, knowing what we know now about how the season went, 10 seems a little low. We never really got a feel for the car in the Direct. They just showed it, and then like the little Super Famicom thing popped up. That was a bit of a mystery, but it turns out that was just the Mario Kart music playing, and they never explained that. But we never really got, you know, like a real baseline for the car in the direct, so I had not a whole lot to go by. But judging by the footage in the video, it felt like something that was just going to be like, you're along for the ride, this is going to be a goddamn nightmare, you're going to be out of control, and that's pretty much how it turned out to be. I mean, you guys saw toward the end of the season, I'm like, I'm just not even going to get inside this fucking car. I'm not even going to do it. And then that title screen level, that fucking title screen level, that had the you know, with the 3D world with the big flat, you know, thing where the game logo goes, and then it had the little, you know Mario starts down here, and then there's the Koopa Troopa inside his car right there. The number of times we saw that goddamn state, I fucking hate it. Okay. That's like and it's not even a true automatic, because you have to press right at one point, otherwise you're going to die. Like Nintendo tried to make an automatic stage, and they fucked that up. So the Koopa Troopa car starts us off at the bottom of the list. I feel like in hindsight it probably ought to be a lot higher, and I'm not necessarily going to reorder the list in this episode, but I did have the foresight to know that that car was going to cause us a lot of problems, and much like buying a used car that you just got a little too good of a deal on, it was a lemon. It was a fucking lemon. So, hot on the heels of the car at number 9 is the Angry Sun, which was added from Super Mario Bros. 3 and put into Mario Maker 2. The Angry Sun was redrawn to fit the styles of Mario 1, Mario World, and of course the new Super Mario Bros. 3D U, whatever the fuck that game was called. Whereas everybody complained that the 3D Sun looked like something out of LSD Dream Emulator, and I don't disagree with that assessment one bit. I've played the game. I can definitely concur. But the Angry Sun, clocking in at number 9, I felt like people were going to spam it, and it was going to be a lot bigger of an issue than it turned out to be. Because, yeah, we've seen the Angry Sun throughout Your Level Sucks, but it was never as much of a threat as I felt that it was, you know, thinking back to the levels it appears in Super Mario Bros. 3, right? Think about the very first desert stage where you see the sun for the first time when you jump through the twister. Like, that was like, oh, shit! You know, the fucking sun, and he's swinging down, and that was a very flat level, so the sun could hit you pretty easily. You could also kick a shell at it, and you could fix the whole global warming problem and start a new one in the process, because now there's no sun. But anyways, you know, the sun really... The sun in Super Mario Maker 2, so many people's stages were built so piled high with garbage that whenever the sun would swoop down and try and get you, it would just miss you every time. The sun could not hit you in most of the levels that we played. It was just there to be annoying. Like, there was never a moment where it was like, when you thought you'd gotten away from the sun, and then you're playing, you know, World 8-2 in Mario 3, and that motherfucking sun comes back right at the, like, you haven't seen it the whole game, but he makes one last appearance, and you're like, son of a bitch. You know, there were never any moments like that. But I put the Angry Sun on the list because, again, all I had to go by was my memories of having played Mario Bros. 3 as a child and being terrified of this fucking sun. And I realized in hindsight, really had nothing to be afraid of in the way of Mario Maker 2, so I put it at number 9 on the list, but at some point I feel like it doesn't really belong on the list at all. So Angry Sun gets a thumbs down. That was a bad prediction on my part. And speaking of bad predictions, number 8 is the custom auto-scroller. In the Nintendo Direct, they really devoted like a lot of time to showing how this thing worked, showing how you drag the little birdie icon and you can make it vertical, and then drag it horizontally, and then drag it down and diagonally, and you could adjust the speed. There were 3 different speed settings, of course, just like basically just like the normal auto scroller, except you could make it
speed up and slow down and change direction at will. And I looked at that and I'm like, yeah, people are definitely going to fuck that up. But I don't even think we saw that in all of the episodes we taped of Your Level Sucks 2. I cannot think of a single instance where we saw the custom auto-scroller come into play. I mean, maybe, I'm not counting that title screen level that takes place on that fucking airship. That doesn't count. I'm thinking, like, whenever users would submit stages, I can't remember ever seeing, I mean, we've seen auto-scrollers, but not the custom auto-scroller type. And I feel like maybe that's because the custom auto-scroller was a little too complex for the average Mario Maker 2 maker player person. You know, not to throw stones or anything like that, but I certainly never used it because it just seemed like it was more trouble than it was worth. And I feel like everybody else probably felt the same way, but when I watched the Direct, I remember seeing that thinking, somebody is going to make an auto-scroller that just fucking does this or something, and it's going to be, they're going to call it like Earthquake or something stupid, and it's going to be a pain in the ass, and that was a false alarm. We never saw it. They announced it in the Direct. I'm sure there are stages out there that use the custom auto-scroller. I'm sure they're bad. And we never saw any of them. We never saw a single one. So getting back into things that we definitely did see a lot of throughout the course of taping Your Level Sucks 2, number 7 is the Swinging Claw. Swinging Claw, your mileage may vary on that, but every time I saw that, it was either a pain in the ass jump or it was just a lot of them chained together in succession. And for me, the way I felt about the Swinging Claw is the single most easiest way to ruin and destroy the flow of a stage is to put some claws in it. Like, because every Mario stage has a flow, right? When, at least every good Mario stage, where you understand where you're supposed to go, the level, you know, you tend to, it's like water. You tend to go through the stage and it's seamless. But those, I don't know what game those fucking claws are from. I don't know if they're specific to Mario Maker, or if they're from one of those like New Super Mario Brothers games that I've just never touched just because they don't interest me at all. But those claws ruined so many would-be good stages just because it slows the action down. And then of course people think it's funny to make you jump across 7 of them and jump over spikes while you do that. Fuck that shit. You can also use the claws to hold items. So when you walk underneath it, it'll drop it, and those can also be enemies. The Direct even says that maybe you can make a crane game out of it. And they show some footage from story mode where you drop a Goomba on the note block and you get a key and things like that. We did see several stages throughout the course of the season where people tried to make they tried to make games out of you know, the little crane claw thing. And it just never worked. Like, you could try doing that, but it usually involved fucking around with on-off blocks and things like that, because you couldn't really make, like, a proper, like, prize machine thing where you know, did an on-off block and had the thing go down, because the second you walk underneath the claw, it doesn't matter if there's a ceiling above you, it's going to drop whatever it's holding onto Mario. So by design, the claw was already crippled. I mean, there were really only very specific uses that you could use it for, and like I said, they ruin the flow of a stage. So the claw, coming in at number 7, I feel is a pretty reasonable assessment, and if I had to make a list today, it would still make the list, and it would probably still be number 7. Now again, we've had 2 hits, 2 misses so far, but number 6 is definitely a big miss. The moon. I don't know really why I thought the moon was going to make the list. I think not necessarily the moon, but I think it was more or less night mode that I was thinking about when I wrote down the moon. Because the moon operates exactly like the sun, except when you touch it, it just wipes out all the enemies on the screen. So I think when I wrote down moon, what I intended to write was night mode. So I'm introducing this section as the moon, but only because, you know, sometimes even the best can make mistakes and fuck things up. And I look at this old script, I'm like, why did I put moon? It can't even hurt you. But night mode is one of the things that I think is what I intended, because night mode activates the fucking spot shadow. It activates like anti-gravity in certain stages. I think putting night mode on in the desert is what triggers the wind to start blowing left and right. Basically, every theme that you can build a level with has something flipped on its head in night mode. I think the athletic, the overworld levels, that's the one where items bounce and try to run away from you, and one-ups get turned into poison mushrooms. There's some good ideas there, but every time that we definitely saw night mode used in a game, it was usually like the rotten mushroom spam, the poison mushroom spam, where there's like 50 of them coming at you and they're dropping out of pipes, and it's just a fucking pain in the ass to try and play. Night mode in the levels where it turns things into a spot shadow. I stand by my testament that there has never been a good spot shadow stage, period. And that includes the one that I made. Because in hindsight, I mean, you can look up Cosmic Spacehead, which is what I based my level off of. You can look up a playthrough of that game and watch the secret tunnel. I copied the map over because I was like, oh, a spot shadow. The first thing I thought of was Cosmic Spacehead, because I was making levels based off of existing video games. And I think that is a decent level, but then I realize most people haven't played that game and don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So there were a lot of people who basically treated that stage as like just fucking Blind Jump City. So the moon / night mode is something that is kind of smack in the middle of the list. I'd probably keep it where it is, right there with the swinging claw. I would say that the weird gameplay changes, doesn't it make the underground levels upside fucking down as well? Like, okay, first of all, you're underground. Can't be night underground. Daylight don't get down there. It's always night down there. But God damn, it just really, I see what they were trying to do. They were trying to make different gameplay styles. They are basically taking 8 themes and giving, or I think there's 8 themes, but doubling it and giving you 16 ways to play. 8 regular, and then 8 like, whoa, you're Lionel Richie dancing on the fucking ceiling, you know, like, whatever. So that's the first half of the list down. From here on out, it's the top 5, and starting off the top 5 at number 5 is the Warp Block from I think that's from Super Mario 3D World, not New Super Mario Brothers. The Warp Block was something that I foresaw being problematic because even in the direct trailer, they gave people bad ideas by saying, you don't know where it's gonna lead. You could lead people into a trap. And I'm thinking, like, don't fucking say things like that, because that's what people are gonna do. And yeah, that's what they did. The Warp Block, you know, being at number 5, it's more of an annoyance. I would put the Warp Block maybe not as high. I'd probably kick it back down to kind of where the swinging claws are, because the Warp Blocks were really just, like I said, more of an annoyance. You go through a stage, and you go through a stage, probably as Cat Mario, whatever the fuck, you know, and this block takes you somewhere else, and in especially poorly designed levels, you could skip warp blocks entirely, meaning that really at no point did the collective user base really understand what the hell they were doing. And a lot of times you'd hit a warp block and it would take you to the top of a fucking flagpole, just like what people used to do with doors back in Mario Maker 1, that a habit that was just translated right back over into Mario Maker 2. Now there's just 3 ways to do it, because you have doors, warp pipes, and now warp blocks. You know, they all basically achieve the same thing, except doors and warp blocks can only teleport you within the same one of 2 pages, you know, of the level you're on. So in a sense, they were kind of redundant too. because you could lock a warp block just like you can lock a fucking door. So the only difference is that warp blocks activate as soon as you touch them, whereas you have to actually enter a door. Coming up at number 4 are clear conditions. Now this is something that we never really saw a whole lot, kind of like the custom auto-scroller. There were levels that definitely had clear conditions. In fact, we saw several of them throughout the production of the series, but most of them were like, collect all the coins. And then that was an auto-scroller where you did all the coins anyways. Or it was like, beat the level without taking damage. But then there would be no power-ups, so if you took damage, yeah, you would fail the clear condition, but you would also die. So you would just restart the level, and the clear condition would also reset. So there was no point in having that set as a clear condition. Very rarely did we ever come across stages where the clear conditions were like, get there as Mario with a certain type of power-up, get there while holding a POW block, get there while riding Yoshi. There's all sorts of really, really bizarre, fucking crazy clear conditions you can pick from. Some of y'all might not even know. I mean, most of the time you think like collect the coins, kill X number of enemies, reach the goal as Fire Mario, whatever, you know what I mean? But there's one for like climbing a certain amount of trees in 3D World and doing the handstand on top. That's a clear condition. Who the fuck thought that up? That's dumb. There's also one for setting off a certain amount of POW blocks. And I want to say there's one for setting off a certain amount of P-switches too. Don't quote me on that. But there's so many weird and out there clear conditions that definitely had the potential to be, and again, I didn't know at the time, but they definitely had the potential to be abused a lot more than they turned out to be. And I think the only reason why we didn't see more of the things like climb X number of trees or trigger X number of POW blocks is because, as I'm sure you know, you have to beat your own level before the game will let you submit it. And if you make something as tedious as climb 100 fucking trees, even the worst Mario Maker builders are not going to have the fucking... They got the ADHD, man. They ain't gonna fucking do it. They're gonna climb 3 trees and they're gonna say, maybe 100's too much. Or they're gonna say, I'm gonna go watch some meme TikTok compilations, Naruto run, whoosh, and I'm gonna do something else. And then they never finish their stage. But clear conditions hitting at number 4, I feel like in hindsight, when I saw that immediately kind of triggered a panic response. So my initial assessment was, oh man, people are going to have us do all sorts of bullshit. This is going to fucking blow. But really, in actuality, I want to say clear conditions might not even make the list if I were to actually go through and make a top 10 list of things that people really did screw up throughout the season of Your Level Sucks 2. But clear conditions turned out to just be you know, kind of a nothing burger. So now we're in the top 3, and at number 3 is the Twister from Super Mario Bros. 3. The Twister only appeared in, I want to say 1 level in Mario 3, and that was the same level that introduced the Angry Sun, which was number 9 on the list as well. The Twister, definitely number 3 in my predictions, and after this, now that we've done the season, I'm keeping it at number 3. I'm not moving that around, because the Twister was designed only for one thing, and that was to act as a barrier and as a trigger for Super Mario Bros. 3. It's at the very beginning of World 2, where this is also the game that introduced the P-speed meter, and you can only jump through the Twister if you have full P-speed. So the Twister is there to kind of act as the first real barrier for the player, the first difficulty spike where the game starts to ramp it up. Now you know what the running meter is. You can't get past this obstacle unless you've got maximum P-speed and you jump at the right angle. And then when you do that, here comes the fucking sun! So The twister served a very important and integral role in Mario 3. And then they just dumped that shit in Mario Maker 2. They, Mario Maker 1, not Mario Maker 1, but Mario Brothers 1, Mario 3, Mario World, New Super Mario Brothers, I think even 3D World. Basically games where the twister did not appear and really had no reason to appear. Now you can put twisters in there. More than one. And crossing a twister doesn't trigger anything. You can't give it any associations or whatever, aside from making it pop out of a question mark box. That's really about the only thing you can do. People still decided that spamming levels and filling them with the fucking twister was just the pinnacle of goddamn comedy and level design. And we saw more than our fair share of stages of twisters just carrying enemies around, Goombas and everything else. And once you get swept up in the twister, if there's an enemy in it, you're going to get hit. So you better either use your damage boost to get the hell out of there, or just pray that your button mashing will let you land on that enemy and then jump and then just hold that fucking run button and get the hell away from the twisters. Even before the game was released, I think that was the one thing I talked about the most, was that, why is this even in the goddamn game? Because like I said, going back to my introduction, the twister was in Mario 3 to act as a gatekeeper, to officially, you did World 1. Okay, World 1, that's baby stuff. World 2, we ain't fucking around now. Except I think World 2 is also, no, that's 1-2 where you can get the infinite 1-ups from the Goomba. But there also is a castle in World 2. There's a fortress where you can do the same thing with the 3 dry bones at the very beginnings, but that's beyond the point. But basically the point I'm trying to make is that the twister served, it was a unipurpose thing in the Mario universe. And I feel like it was added to Mario Maker 2 just because they had a powwow and they were thinking of things like, what exists in these games that we haven't put in here yet? Well, we didn't put the spinny thing from Mario. Good! Right, put that down. Write that down. Spinny thing from Mario 3. Do that. And then a million bad stages were made because of it. Number 2 on the list is Super Mario 3D World. All of it. The whole thing. The whole fucking thing. I'm not even kidding. On the top 10, Super Mario 3D World is just what I wrote down. Everything. It would not be a top 10 list with Draco if one of the entries was not some type of fucking stupid technicality. And Super Mario 3D World, the whole thing, as number 2. And I feel like I hit that one right on the money, putting it at number 2. Well, I mean, when we get to number 1, you're gonna see it's 2 and 1 are neck and neck. It was a race to the bottom when I was trying to put this together. But I put Super Mario 3D World at number 2 because I knew nothing good would come of it. Cat Mario looked like a pain in the ass power up. Builder Mario, fuck Builder Mario. I think, as much as I hate the cat suit, and you guys know how much I hate that power up, I detest the Builder Mario thing. When you press the button to swing a hammer, you got time to go put a Hot Pocket in the fucking toaster oven before he's done swinging that motherfucking hammer, okay? I ain't talking about microwaving no Hot Pocket. If you want to do that, you can microwave 10 Hot Pockets. You can serve a whole fucking football team Hot Pockets, or you can put one in the toaster oven, which is what civilized people who still eat Hot Pockets do. They put them in the toaster oven for 25 minutes or whatever. Fucking 3D World, I hate the aesthetic. It's got Cat Mario, Builder Mario. It has the car. I think that's the one. I think Pom Pom only appears in 3D World. Fucking Meowser. All of the cat versions of enemies, like the Cat Bonsai Bill. All that shit. Like, you think of everything that I have yelled and screamed and ranted about throughout the season. a lot of it falls under the umbrella. And there's like those B enemies that like don't appear anywhere. Like, fuck Super Mario 3D World. Fuck it. I stuck it at number 2 on the list because as soon as I saw it pop up, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be trouble. And boy, was I vindicated with the capital V and capital indicated after that too. And finally, number one on my predictions of the top 10 things people will screw up in Mario Maker 2 because they are dumb, that were also announced during the Direct. Snake blocks. Snake fucking blocks. They were a mistake in Super Mario World. I hated the castles that had the snake blocks. I fucking hated that shit. And you guys know, and now that I've said it, now that I've said between numbers 1 and 2 how it was a race to the bottom, with 2 just being all of Mario 3D World and number 1 being snake blocks, you can see how hard it was. Like, these are basically tied to me. If I could have 2 number 1s, it would be all of 3D World and then the fucking snake block. Which you can also put the snake blocks in 3D World, so technically they're grouped under there as well. But I still stand by my statement that just like how I said there's not a good spot shadow stage, there is not a single good snake block stage. I maybe we played one and I just can't remember it because my brain don't work no good no more. But just there's the green one, and then of course there's the blue one. The blue one moves twice as fast as the green one. You can make them 3 blocks long, you can make them 8 blocks long. And as soon as I saw them in the Direct, there's actually a moment where the green one is moving so fucking slowly that there's a, I mean, go back and watch the, fuck, I might even just stop this and just cut it in, but there's a moment in the Direct where there's just a few seconds of awkward silence where the narrator is just letting this slow-ass green fucking snake block just do its thing. Just worm around. If I'm going to cut to that footage, I'm going to do that right now.
Remember the snake block?
They don't regenerate. So if you're playing a level where you have to ride a snake block to get to a different part, you know, to a higher part in the level, and you fall off or you miss it, or they made it 3 blocks long and it's blue and it moves too fast for you to keep up with, or you jump on it and it goes straight up and you're not That's the thing. When you jump on the snake block, you don't know which direction it's going to go. It could just go straight up, and if you're not prepared to just double jump right away, you fucked up. And if you walk far enough away from where the snake block was, and then go back, it doesn't come back. So it's really easy to soft lock a stage if you screw up the snake block. And we've seen that several times during the course of the show. Riding on snake blocks was always a pain in the ass because, again, like the swinging claw, it takes the flow, it removes the action. It takes out the flow. There's no sense. It's like, oh, hang on, I'm in an elevator, I'm on the bottom floor and I have a meeting on the fucking 14th floor. Let me just fucking sit here and wait for a second while this moving platform takes me to go fuck yourself land. What else can I say? Now that we've played well over literally 1,000 stages on the air, we've seen the worst that Super Mario Maker 2 has to offer. There were 2 things mentioned in the Direct that did not make the list that I feel like if I were to go back and actually make a top 10 list now that the season is over and done with, vertical sub areas would make the list because those go on just long enough for you to realize they've gone on way too long when they're done wrong. Like it's only like half a screen too long or whatever. But in that split second, you're like, is this gonna fucking end? Like there's that, and then of course the vertical sub areas also gave birth to what I call the poop shoot stages, where you ground pound just a bunch of POW blocks and shit, and there's a million fucking sound effects and things that are going off like crazy. For some reason, Japan was obsessed with making levels like that, and I hated every single one of them. So vertical sub-areas did not register to me as something to be wary of. They were mentioned in the Direct, but they didn't register to me because the example they show in the Direct was like, oh, that looks decent, and it was a story mode stage. The other thing that definitely would make the list are clear pipes. But again, that falls under the umbrella of Super Mario 3D World, or as I like to, clear pipes, or as I like to call them, Mario bonds. Guys, live above the influence. Remember, anybody who tells you to do drugs is not your friend. So if you need to talk to someone, you can talk to anyone. Talk to your priest, your preacher, your nun, your rabbi, your teachers, your parents, your moms, your dads, your friends. Anyone who says to tells you to do drugs is not your friend. Drugs can and will kill. And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Please. So, clear pipes also would have made the list. Only because the game has an internal limit as to how long you can make a clear pipe. And so many times we saw people just stretch it to the limit, but then put a second pipe down. So if a clear pipe connects to a clear pipe, you just keep traveling through it. So that effectively overrides the game's own, like, I'm cutting you off. You've made it too fucking long, you dumbass. Just by clicking, people think that's how, shit, dude. If that's how plumbing works, I mean, if you hired one of the people who makes glass pipe stages in Mario stages like that, and that person grows up to be a plumber, do not hire them, because I guarantee when you flush the toilet, all of your diarrhea dookie dump is going to come out of your fucking shower head. I guarantee it, okay? That's it. That was what we had written for Your Direct Sucks. Again, because we're doing this after the fact, a lot of the script we just kind of parsed out, because there's no point in shooting it like, we're anticipating Mario Maker 2. Game's been out for longer than a year. Your Level Sucks Season 2 has already wrapped production. I mean, you're watching this now as a lost episode live as part of Your Anniversary Sucks, so there's no point in filming this pretending like this was filmed before the game was going to come out. I've already seen the horrors that are on this list. But before we go, I just want to give a special mention to the download version that's mentioned at the end of the Nintendo Direct. Guys, if you spend $100, $99.99, so it doesn't sound like $100, only for Nintendo Online subscribers only, by the way, you could buy 2 download vouchers for games that normally sell for $60 a piece. You could get 2 vouchers for $50 a whack. You had to buy 2 of them, and you can use one of them on Mario Maker 2 and another one on Smash, or on Splatoon, or on 1-2 Switch, which they literally suggest redeeming it on 1-2 Switch in the trailer. Fuck you. That's the most egregious and insulting thing in the Direct, aside from announcing that 3D World is going to be added to the game. Telling somebody to buy 2 digital tickets for $100 and say, oh, you could spend one on Mario Maker 2, or you could basically spend one of them on 1-2 Switch. That's like saying, hey, you could buy 2 tickets to the Van Halen concert, and you can go see Van Halen, and you can take the other ticket and just shove it right up your ass. But the reason why those download versions get a special mention to me is because, wow, guys, what a great way to purchase 2 games and not own physical copies of them on your terms. Can't think of anything worse than digitally downloading a full-ass console game. You can't trade it into GameStop. You can't, if you want to get fucked, again, you're just getting fucked a different way. But I guess a better comparison would have been, you can't sell it on eBay for a little bit less than market value. You don't own the cartridge. I mean, you probably still get the Nintendo Gold points for it or whatever. You can redeem for fucking 15 cents off your next time you buy a $20 game. But come on, Nintendo. Don't be doing download shit like that. Come on. Just go back to the good old days. I mean, you put your games on cartridges again. Come on, man. Bring back the days of the NES. Blow on that son of a bitch. Put that in the system. Let's play some Mega Man. I know you told us not to blow in the cartridges, and I know people on YouTube have done those tests where it's like, this is what happens when you blow in a cartridge for 30 days every day, as opposed to just rubbing it with isopropyl alcohol every day for 30 days. And then they open up the shells, and one of them looks like it's just been dipped in salt water for 5 years. I'll leave you to believe which one of the two that one is. But I'm like, hey, if you don't want me blowing on my video games, explain to me why that makes them work. Explain that. You're just trying to sell me an NES cleaning kit. That's just that's a cotton swab that somebody parked a truck on top of. They made it flat. I'm on to you, Nintendo. You've been doing this shit for 30 fucking years. But you think I'm dumb because I wear this hat? This hat underneath this hat is my big brain, my galaxy brain. I can't take this hat off because galaxies have black holes and it'll suck in everything else in the universe. Fuck you. Anyways, that's been a look into one of the lost episodes, the only lost episode of Your Level Sucks Season 2. We called it Your Direct Sucks to fit in with the rest of the promotions. Your Invitational Sucks, Your Marathon Sucks. We technically called the teaser trailers Your Trailers Suck, but that name was never really publicly known. Everything fit that naming convention. I mean, right now you're watching this on a special called Your Anniversary Sucks. So, your blank sucks. That's just what we did around here. But those are my predictions. I'd say, half of them, a solid half of them, spot on. The other ones, you never know. But when I saw that direct, I had the idea to put that together. And unfortunately, like I said, we never got to tape it, but I feel like now getting to tape it after the fact and reflect on the series, it's almost different than just speaking out of my ass about things I didn't really know a whole lot about yet. Because if we would have done the predictions video, I don't know what I would have said on some of it. I mean, some of the script blocks were just empty for ad-libbing and things like that. So, I think revisiting, I think having made the list was good. We kind of wasted time writing the script. Making the list was good, because then it meant we could revisit it once the show had wrapped, basically a year later, and see, was I right? Yes, I was. But thanks so much for tuning in. That's going to do it for Your Direct Sucks, the lost episode of Your Level Sucks 2. Stick around, because we've got lots more content right here at Your Anniversary Sucks, the 5-year anniversary of Your Level Sucks. So I've been your host, Draco, and we're going to kick it over to probably something else equally as terrible as what you've just watched. So thank you all very much, and thank you to our supporters on Patreon and everybody else who technically, were making content like this possible, but like I said, time crunch, and we just ran out of time. But still, you guys on Patreon, you're the real MVPs, as well as our Twitch subscribers and everybody else who contributes Twitch pennies and all that good stuff, or buys a t-shirt through Streamlabs. I get a whole $5 every time somebody does one of those. So, we'll catch you later.
Mario Maker, that was made by